I don't want to see the David fight. I think David is a heavyweight, and I think David's legacy is he actually needs to move up. And Usyk would be like the fight that would like give him the type of recognition that he needs. He needs to stop trying to suck down and beat up on smaller men. His legacy is a heavyweight. Crawford, he can do whatever he want now. If he wanted to retire, he could do that. And if he wanted to just pick easy fights to pad the stats some more, he can do that too. We already know that Charlo's probably wouldn't stand a chance against him. Nobody else who's a big name at 160 or whatever. He don't need to go back down no more. That's a waste of time, and it's also bad on his body too. We saw what happened.
David Benavidez was blunt about Terence Crawford's impressive win over Canelo Alvarez.
David, do you think Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo?
No, I wouldn't fight Crawford. I'm at 170.
The WBC light heavyweight champion described Crawford's performance in just 4 words, which fans quickly recognized as the perfect summary. For Benavidez, Crawford's rise into boxing history wasn't just impressive, it was proof that the Omaha native now belonged among the all-time greats. Earlier this month, Crawford faced the Mexican superstar Canelo Alvarez, and many wondered if moving up 3 weight divisions would finally be too much. Instead, he shocked the sport by dethroning Canelo to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship. The fight took place at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, and by the end, the judges' scorecards all leaned toward Crawford, reading 115 to 113, 116 to 112, and 115 to 113.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford.
From the opening bell, Crawford set a pace that Canelo couldn't match. This wasn't just another win, it was a defining moment in boxing history. Crawford became the first male fighter to hold undisputed titles in 3 separate weight classes, cementing his legacy. At 37, the Omaha fighter delivered arguably the best performance of his career. Benavidez, an unbeaten world champion himself, emphasized that Crawford belonged in the conversation of all-time greats. Rising through weight divisions and defeating one of the era's most dominant fighters was a feat rarely seen in boxing. Benavidez noted that moving from welterweight at 147 pounds to super middleweight and capturing all 4 belts was unprecedented. He said, "I want to give Terence Crawford great congratulations. He's achieved what very few do in the history of the sport. He's one of the greatest of all time. Not only did he move up 3 weight classes, but he beat one of the best fighters of his generation. I don't remember anyone in history coming up from 147 pounds and winning the super middleweight world championship. Not only is he a great fighter, but that fight showed just how tough he is."
Crawford just got the biggest win in his career and one of the biggest wins in history. He doesn't need to go out there and risk. Benavidez is too big, too strong. We don't want to see a champion do so much and accomplish so much and then end his career with a bad choice, a bad fight that he shouldn't take.
From the opening bell, Crawford set a pace that Canelo couldn't match. This wasn't just another win, it was a defining moment in boxing history. Crawford became the first male fighter to hold undisputed titles in 3 separate weight classes, cementing his legacy. At 37, the Omaha fighter delivered arguably the best performance of his career. Benavidez, an unbeaten world champion himself, emphasized that Crawford belonged in the conversation of all-time greats. Rising through weight divisions and defeating one of the era's most dominant fighters was a feat rarely seen in boxing. Benavidez noted that moving from welterweight at 147 pounds to super middleweight and capturing all 4 belts was unprecedented. He said, "I want to give Terence Crawford great congratulations. He's achieved what very few do in the history of the sport. He's one of the greatest of all time. Not only did he move up 3 weight classes, but he beat one of the best fighters of his generation. I don't remember anyone in history coming up from 147 pounds and winning the super middleweight world championship. Not only is he a great fighter, but that fight showed just how tough he is.
Of his career if he keeps trying to fight. Well, it's tough to say because he's made enough money that he can retire. He really has nothing else to prove. We saw him go up. He did but he tested himself all the way up as far as he could go. He won the light heavyweight title, then he lost to B-Ball. So that shows that the light heavyweight was his ceiling. And that's good enough. Really, right now he got nothing else to prove. You know, I mean, of course, if you keep fighting, people gonna demand you fight the monster because both of you guys are Mexican. But to me, you probably shouldn't do that. You understand me? It's probably not a good fight for you at this point.
As Crawford celebrated his historic victory, more opinions poured in. Hall of Famer James Toney was especially blunt about Canelo's performance. He didn't see it as a close fight or even a respectable loss. Canelo had been thoroughly dismantled. The Mexican champion wasn't just defeated, Crawford broke him down piece by piece with precision and relentlessness. It was a harsh assessment of a fighter who had once appeared untouchable at super middleweight.
Not only did he lose him, he got destroyed, basically. Took him apart.
Do you feel like he's gonna want that back? Do you feel like
if he's a true fighter, a true champion, he gonna want it back and train twice as hard and do what it takes to get the job done. Basically, that's what comes down to right there. 100%.
Toney's remarks came as speculation about a potential rematch between Canelo and Crawford began to surface. Some think Canelo may seek revenge soon, especially with the WBC reinstating him as the #1 contender at 168 pounds. A rematch could give him a shot at becoming undisputed for the third time, a rare achievement. While Toney focused on Canelo's defeat, former light heavyweight champion Sergey Kovalev turned attention to Crawford's future. Having faced Canelo himself, Kovalev saw only one fighter who could truly challenge Crawford, Dmitry Bivol. Bivol, who became undisputed light heavyweight champion earlier this year after defeating Artur Betev, stood out as Crawford's most formidable potential opponent. Kovalev said, "Yes, Dmitry's style can pose problems for Crawford, but he showed in the last fight that he can adapt to any weight and any opponent. This fight will be very interesting to watch."
A couple of questions. Crawford, Spence. I know you watched the fight and you spoke about Crawford. How good is Crawford?
Crawford is amazing, not just good. He's amazing, and
he said the same thing about you.
Thank you, Terence. But I think he should be in the book for
is that good?
How to learn boxing. You know.
Really?
He's a very good fighter. Yeah, I like to watch his fights.
Pound for pound #1?
Yeah, probably he is now because he is undisputed champion in 2 weight classes.
It's crazy.
While Kovalev evaluated Crawford's potential challengers, another legend joined a different debate. Oscar de la Hoya, former champion and current promoter, shared his opinion on whether Crawford was better than Floyd Mayweather. The discussion arose after Canelo suggested Crawford might have surpassed Mayweather, but de la Hoya disagreed. He argued Mayweather was far superior, citing his fight against Canelo, where Floyd completely outclassed the Mexican. According to de la Hoya, Mayweather barely took a clean shot that night, and his dominance showcased unmatched technical skill. Crawford may have been more aggressive and versatile, but de la Hoya believed Mayweather's abilities remained on another level.
What do you think? Who would win in a fight?
My man. I have to disagree because Floyd Mayweather toyed with Canelo. Like, he literally toyed with him. He didn't get hit at all. Not one time. And Crawford, yeah, he's more of a fighter, boxer. Mayweather's more of a boxer. But I have to disagree. I think Mayweather is much more superior than Crawford. Not just because he beat me and it was a close fight, whatever, you know, or that I stepped in the ring with Mayweather, but I really feel that technically Mayweather's a...
The comparison sparked boxing's perennial debate over generational greatness. Mayweather built his legacy on flawless defense and tactical mastery, capturing titles in 5 divisions while remaining undefeated. Crawford, meanwhile, was forging his own path through versatility, resilience, and dominance across multiple weight classes. Whether one is truly superior may never be decided, but it underscored just how remarkable Crawford's career had become.
Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. Like he's actually, he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has their...
Even as debates about greatness continued, attention turned back to Mayweather's future. Retired since 2017 after defeating Conor McGregor, he hadn't fully ruled out a return. Boxing analyst Dan Rafael suggested that if Mayweather came back, it wouldn't be against top-tier opponents. Instead, he predicted Floyd would face safer, less risky fighters to protect his perfect 50-0 record. Rafael showed little enthusiasm for a comeback, seeing no appeal in watching the legend take on past prime matchups or novelty bouts. He even dismissed talk of a rematch with Manny Pacquiao as uninteresting, reflecting the view of many fans who believe Mayweather's legacy should stand on his original achievements, not on unnecessary returns.
It's obviously is that Manny was out of the ring for a lot less time than Floyd Mayweather was. That's significant. I mean, I hope this doesn't lead to some stupid discussion of doing a rematch between Floyd and Manny, because that I have like literally less than zero interest in that.
I remember what you said. I can't remember the words you said, but you said you'd rather set yourself on fire than watch that rematch.
Exactly. I mean, I would say right now it's idle talk, and Floyd sort of like spitballing, seeing what's out there. And this whole thing they announced with this Mike Tyson Floyd Mayweather exhibition bout, the way that was announced was very clear to me that they may have signed to do the fight, but it's contingent on them actually having a platform on which to do it that will pay them money. And I don't think they have a deal yet for anybody to show it. So it's still a matter of if that actually will take place. So I'll believe it when I see it. And frankly, I don't see there being a lot of interest in that. Not because they're not two incredible names and two all-time legends and two great fighters and, have tremendous amount of fans and history in the sport. But we all know what Tyson's got left, and that's absolutely nothing. If they announced Mayweather versus Tyson before we saw Tyson get completely exposed by Jake Paul, I could understand there being interest. But he went in the ring with Jake Paul and had 8 rounds where he couldn't do anything. I know that was technically an official fight, so what makes you think he can do anything against a Floyd Mayweather even...
In the present, Crawford's star continued to rise, moving from his dismantling of Canelo toward even greater historic milestones. His career had become boxing's defining storyline. Whether he chased middleweight titles, considered facing Bivol at light heavyweight, or remained at super middleweight, he had shown he could handle any challenge. Meanwhile, Canelo faced decisions about his own legacy, whether to rebuild at 168 pounds, seek revenge against Crawford, or finally retire after years of dominance. For a fighter who had achieved so much, the choice to continue carried as much weight as any bout.
I don't think he will, though. He's got a multi-fight deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh. It's a lot of money on the table, and he's a proud champion, so I could understand him not wanting to end on that note. But you can see Canelo getting older, and I'm not just talking about ring. I mean, you can see it in his face, for the Netflix special behind the scenes. You kind of see the age. You see the wear and tear. The man has been fighting as a professional since he was 15 years old.
20 years.
He's got over, it's a long time to be getting hit with 8-ounce and 10-ounce gloves. Even if you take it well, and oftentimes the guys that take it well, they show it more. Because I'm absorbing a lot of shots, and you giving me praise for absorbing them shots, but them shots take a toll. I don't know how much longer he should keep fighting, and it's not because he can't fight anymore. He's still one of the best fighters in the world. But you get into the hunger conversation. You get into the total punishment that you got to add that stuff up when you start getting older. Like, okay, man, do I still need to do this? He doesn't need to do it other than just his love for it, because his mantra is no boxing, no life. So I don't know if he's going to be able to walk away right now. His legacy is secure. I think he's one of the greatest Mexican fighters that has ever done it. I think he's in the great category and conversation. We can break down the resume another day, but I think that given the way that he fought and given the way that he bowed out, I think you just got to just leave it right there and give him his respect. I would like to see him maybe take 1 or 2 more and call it a day.
From Benavidez's glowing praise to Toney's harsh critique, from Kovalev's cautious warning to De La Hoya's bold comparison, and Rafael's doubts about Mayweather, the boxing world had no shortage of reactions to Crawford's historic achievement. Each viewpoint offered a different piece of the puzzle, showing a sport in transition where legends were questioned and new icons emerged. At the center stood Terence Crawford, once doubted for lacking marquee opponents, now recognized as one of boxing's all-time greats. With every division he conquered and every champion he humbled, he cemented his place in history. The only question remaining was how much further he was willing to go.